We have breaking news. A fifth blood donor for little Zainab has been found on the other side of the world. We have a lot of new developments to share in our continuing coverage and the search for rare blood donors for Zainab. Hello, I'm Susan Forbes. Zainab is the South Florida girl battling cancer who has some of the rarest blood in the world. OneBlood has been leading a global search to find compatible blood for her, and we are happy to tell you that a fifth matching donor has been found in Australia. The team with the American Rare Donor Program, along with their international colleagues, coming through with this great news. A fifth person is actually the donor with the Red Cross in Australia. There on your screen are a few of the team members from the blood center in Australia proudly holding that unit of blood before they packed it up and shipped it off to OneBlood. The precious unit of blood traveled more than 9,000 miles in a special temperature-controlled container for 2 days before it arrived at the OneBlood laboratory in Fort Lauderdale. And our team was anxiously awaiting that special delivery. There on your screen is our reference lab team, all smiles as that fifth donor's unit of blood arrived at our lab. I recently met with Zainab's parents, and here's their reaction when I told them that another donor had been found.
So I want to let you know that a fifth donor has been found in Australia.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So far away, the other side of the world.
So we, getting relief from this stress. And whenever we heard, okay, they find more donors.
They were surprised, to say the least, and extremely grateful that we now have 5 compatible donors identified for Zainab. And it's been a global effort with 2 of the donors found in the United States, 2 in the United Kingdom, and now the 5th donor found in Australia. We're sharing news of this 5th donor on Zainab's birthday. Today, she turns 3 years old. But instead of celebrating at home, she's in the hospital, getting ready to undergo a bone marrow transplant. It's the most critical phase of her cancer treatment, and blood transfusions are going to play a crucial role.
Well, the next, I would say, the 20 days are
hard.
very crucial.
Yes.
They're going to be very difficult because she will get a very high dose of chemotherapy, which is about 5 times more higher dose of chemotherapy than what she's been receiving already. Right now is the critical time. She's going for the transplant, and this is where she's gonna need the most amount of blood.
Yes.
So this is the time that she needs all the blood that she needs.
Due to the very aggressive treatment to get rid of the cancer disease, she needs to be undergoing a lot of radiotherapy and chemotherapy. And as you may know, those processes are extremely aggressive for the body. At that point, she won't be able to produce blood. So the support for the blood center and the donation that we are going to provide her, the blood transfusion that we're going to provide her, are extremely critical. Without those blood transfusions, she cannot really continue progressing in getting a little bit better.
Zainab is in the hospital right now, currently receiving high doses of chemotherapy in preparation for the bone marrow transplant. I was in touch with the family today, and they tell me she's feeling the effects of that chemo, and she will likely need a blood transfusion soon. The next big step for Zainab comes in a few days when she will receive a bone marrow transplant derived from her own stem cells. These stem cells were collected from Zainab several months ago, and since then they have been stored in OneBlood Cellular Processing Laboratory in Fort Lauderdale. The stem cells are being kept in a liquid nitrogen deep freeze until they are needed for Monday's transplant. Zainab's parents had a chance to see where those stem cells are being stored when they visited OneBlood back in December and learned just how those stem cells will be used.
And they go in the bone marrow and they start reproducing and they start recreating the bone marrow that she used to have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how they know how to do
The
that.
science is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
The stem cells remain frozen and will be delivered to the hospital when her doctors call for them to be sent over. Zainab's story is unique and has captured the attention of people around the world. For the past several months, we have been sharing details of how OneBlood is leading the worldwide search for very specific blood donors for Zainab. And it's all because she is missing a common antigen known as the Indian B antigen. Most people carry the Indian B antigen on the surface of their red blood cells. But because Zainab is missing this particular antigen, she can only receive blood from people who are also missing it. And the only people who are likely to be missing it are people who are of Iranian, Indian, or Pakistani descent. And of these populations, less than 4% are likely to be missing it. And that's why such extraordinary efforts have been taking place for the past few months to find compatible donors for Zainab.
I have never experienced anything like this before. You know, again, first time I've ever seen this antibody, but also the first time I've seen such an amazing effort to find blood for this little patient. You know, I'm thankful to be a part of it. It's part of my mission here is to provide blood for my patients and to have the support of not only OneBlood and all the support from OneBlood, but also the support from other blood centers around the United States, the support of donors willing to come out and donate and be tested for this little girl. It's a pretty amazing, amazing thing.
It is truly amazing how many people have reached out to help Zainab. Since making her story public 2 months ago, we have received more than 25,000 emails from people all over the world who meet the specific donor criteria and want to donate for Zainab. And all of those donors are being contacted. It is a massive effort, and blood centers throughout the United States and around the world are all helping. Just about every blood center in the United States has been sending blood donor samples to us to test. So far, we've tested more than 3,500 samples, but there have been no matches found among them. Since we haven't found a match among those units we have tested, you just might be wondering how the 5 compatible donors that have been identified were found. And we're about to tell you. When our reference lab discovered they needed this very rare blood for Zainab, they immediately alerted other blood centers as well as the American Rare Donor Program to see if they had a donor in their databases that could be a match. And lo and behold, 2 blood centers in the United States said they did. LifeStream Blood Center in California and Vitalant Blood Center in Arizona each had a donor in their rare donor database that were a match. Those units were sent to OneBlood, and those donors continue to donate when they are eligible. Then there's the international connections that led us to finding the other 3 donors, and this process is really something, and we want to break it down so that you can see just how this is working. It all starts with the American Rare Donor Program, or ARDP for short. This group searches the world for rare blood. OneBlood participates in the American Rare Donor Program, so when Zainab's case came along, our reference lab team contacted the ARDP right away and let them know we needed blood that's missing the Indian B antigen. At that moment, the ARDP puts the call out to their international colleagues and the World Health Organization's International Rare Donor Panel, better known as the IRDP. This group starts to comb through their database of international rare donors to see if they have any donors in their system that could be a match. And over the past several months, they identified 3 donors that were already in their rare donor system that are also missing the Indian B antigen. The IRDP then alerts the blood centers where those people have donated in the past so they can contact the donor and ask them to come in and donate. So far, the international blood centers that have the rare donors for Zainab are the National Health Services Blood Center in the UK. 2 of Zainab's donors came from them, and another Zainab donor came from the Red Cross in Australia, which is donor number 5. Each time these donors come in to donate with their blood center, arrangements are then made for their donation to be flown to the OneBlood reference lab so we have it on hand for Zainab. So it's a huge thank you to the different agencies and blood centers out there for their ongoing efforts to ensure blood is available for Zainab. But that's just one part of it. The other international component to this is the International Society of Blood Transfusion, or ISBT for short. The ISBT group is the one reaching out to all the international donors who have contacted OneBlood and is helping to coordinate where these people can donate in their country. This team then also arranges for testing to be done on the international donors to see if they are a match for Zainab. So, when we say it's a worldwide effort to find donors for Zainab, that's what's taking place. Pretty amazing stuff. And while it's wonderful we now have 5 donors, the search for more donors continues, and this is why.
We need to, ensure that we have adequate bank of donors to support Zainab Each donor has to go through eligibility requirements. But again, we're relying on, A, the generosity of amazing people, but also that these amazing people remain healthy. And if something happens to any one of them, we're down a donor. So the more donors we have available, the better chances we are to always have an available product for Zainab.
Now, the goal is to have at least 7 to 10 donors to support Zainab's long-term blood needs. So we are still actively searching for between 2 and 5 more donors. Zainab has been in and out of the hospital over the past several weeks. It was just a few weeks ago that surgeons removed the cancerous tumor from near her kidney. The surgery went very well, and they didn't have to take the kidney, but she did require blood transfusions following that surgery. And when her parents saw that unit of blood show up for their little girl, they knew just how important it was.
We looked at it and we knew that this is a precious unit. It's a precious unit, and this is the bloodline, this is a lifeline to our daughter. Now we knew that if this blood unit is not here, her life can be seriously jeopardized. So we knew that this blood is playing a key role in her treatment. So we knew that without this blood, her recovery will not be possible. It will be very, very, very difficult.
And Zainab's parents say that transfusion worked wonders. In fact, they say she was up and running around the day she came home from the hospital. So here's where things stand right now. As I said at the top of the show, Zainab is back in the hospital and will remain there for about a month. She's been receiving heavy doses of chemotherapy, and in a few days, she will undergo a life-saving bone marrow transplant. It's been a lot for the now 3-year-old little girl to go through, and her parents say it's been difficult and painful for them to watch their daughter have to endure the treatments.
It's like a nightmare for both of us, and we are just, want to get rid of all these things as soon as possible, and we are just praying and hoping she will be fine and she will make it.
But this is the world we live in, if this comes and goes. You just have to hold your nerve, you just have to hold your breath, and you have to wait until this moment goes by.
It's not easy. It's seriously not easy. Like, whenever doctor told us about, okay, this medicine has this side effect, this medicine has this side effect, so we just like, oh my gosh, what's going on with our daughter? She's very little, her body, organs, everything's so small. How she's dealing with all these things, there's a lot of toxic. But they have no solution, they have no other way. We have to do it.
Sometimes we see her situation that she feels very weird, she feels very bad, and we feel like, she's not feeling good and all that. But guess what, every time that happened, she made it through. She made it out of it.
That's the good thing, yeah.
She's a fighter.
She's a fighter. She has done good.
She's a fighter.
And we are, as I said, we are very optimistic she's going to make it through these transplants also. We want everybody to pray for us because right now it's a key moment. We are going for the transplant, and I believe that this is going to be the toughest of her entire treatment. And hope she makes it out of it, and she makes it out of it perfectly.
Zainab's parents also said that the moment she gets home from the treatments, it's as if she forgets about being in the hospital, which they're very grateful for. And you could see in that video, she was playing her video games like any normal 3-year-old would, and you would maybe even hear the noise in the background from her game. And in between treatments, I want to tell you that Zainab's parents are making the time to go and donate blood. They say Zainab has changed the way they think about blood donation, and now they are both dedicated donors.
She has changed us. She has changed us the most.
Yeah.
Because I had never donated blood. This was my second time, even though I knew that I'm not a match.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not donating for her. I'm donating for anyone who is in need of my blood. I will be going out and donating blood. As long as I'm healthy, as long as I can donate the blood, I will be doing so.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Zainab has also changed the way tens of thousands of people think about blood donation, and this is why a diverse blood supply is so important. And the proof is all of the support OneBlood has been seeing after sharing her story.
The blood transfusions are extremely important for all our patients, and this campaign that we have initiated to find blood for our little girl has been opened many doors to donors or to communities that in the past never were aware of the need to donate. We need to have a diverse community donating blood for us, and I hope these donors, even though they don't match, they continue coming, because you never know when somebody else will need your special unit or your blood.
And again, even with the 5th blood match found for Zainab, we still need between 2 and 5 additional donors to sustain the amount of blood she will need going forward. So the search continues, and we can't stress it enough how specific the requirements are to be a possible match for Zainab. You must be exclusively Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian descent, meaning both your birth parents are 100% Pakistani, Indian, or Iranian. You must be blood type O or A. Now, if you don't know your blood type and you meet the first criteria, you should still come in and donate, and we will let you know what your blood type is. And remember, it's really important that you please let your phlebotomist know in advance that you are donating for Zainab. That is the only way they will know to tag your donation to receive the additional compatibility testing to see if you're a match for Zainab. If you meet those criteria, please go to our website at oneblood.org to find out where and when you can donate. We have a special page set up with instructions on what you need to do if you live in OneBlood service area, and a form for you to fill out if you live outside of our service area. Now, we brought you a lot of new information today, so here is a recap of the latest developments. A 5th matching donor has been located for Zainab. That donor was identified by the Australian Red Cross. Zainab is back in the hospital right now. She is receiving heavy doses of chemotherapy in preparation for a bone marrow transplant next week. And she will spend about a month in the hospital, during which time she will likely need several blood transfusions. She was just in the hospital last month when surgeons successfully removed the cancerous tumor from near her kidney. And the search continues for more rare blood matches for little Zainab right now. Our thoughts are with Zainab and her family today on her 3rd birthday, and every day we are thinking of her and her family. We'd like to thank everyone who has reached out to offer their help in helping OneBlood find these rare donors for little Zainab. It is a true worldwide team effort. You can count on us to let you know if we find more compatible blood matches and to keep you updated on Zainab's condition. And remember, the need for blood never stops, whether it's rare blood or not. So share your power to save lives and donate blood.